And if you have an issue with one of them, you can just shut off that one section, fix the issue, and go on again. So we've got several things to look at and how we're going to scale it up. But yes, making it larger would be wonderful if we can right combination of processes.
Yeah, our immediate scaling effort would be to do multiples, and then to be able to experiment with something larger, because scaling has its own issues. You don't know what's going to work as it gets bigger. So right now, this work, multiples of this working is a viable thing. So this is our approach right at this moment.
Something interesting is when we do shows and do what you guys do in your showrooms is put the gold in, mix it up with black sand typically, and then run it through a gold drop. And people are awed by how it drops out. That to me, what I've seen is the people that come up and see that are people who've never done gold before, and all of a sudden they're interested in it. And I see a lot of young families and stuff buying gold drops for the purpose of taking the family out to the beach or wherever and running gold, or even getting gold and just running it at home. It's a great thing. The kids love it. I mean, when the kids walk up and see it, it shows they just do it again. How'd that happen? What are you doing? It's really neat. It's a neat family project, family fun project, and you get gold out of it.
I think
make some money off it.
It's so simple, Mike. That's the thing it looks intimidating when you look at even panning sometimes. When people, I feel like you'd have to be a 49er with years of experience with some of these pans, and all your gold just slipped out of the water and into the bucket, and now you're left with nothing. Versus the gold drop, you literally just take your refined, 1/8 size dirt that you've sifted, and then you put it in the top in the funnel with the water, and then goes through the tube. And I'm explaining it in layman's terms, but you're left with the gold at the end, and it's just so easy.
It's very easy. It really is magical. You're like, what what happened? What kind of trickery is this? It's crazy.
And the beauty of it, it's like playing the piano. The more you use it, the more you learn how to adjust. We've got a lot of adjustability into it, and you learn how to adjust it, pop out exactly the type of dirt you have, the size of the gold, and over time, a person can get really good at it. It is a process of learning to use it, but it's a fun and easy process.
We have somebody in. Go ahead.
Yeah, we just learned anecdotally yesterday that I just did a video running pay dirt for Randy Rice at his gold mine in Idaho. He's Dave Veribioff's associate in that mine, actually. And I got 4 buckets of dirt from him and ran it through and got the gold out of it. And to my surprise, Randy tells me, well, that was tailings that he'd already gone through twice and got all the gold possible that he could get. And so he was totally amazed, and now he'd be setting up his gold drop in his mining operation. So this is how dramatic, if we can get gold out of twice run tailings, this shows you how efficient the gold drop is.
Something that's kind of fun is my wife and I will watch the gold shows on Friday night, and we've seen them all. And when they get to the clean room, my head wants to explode. I see these guys using these huge, expensive pieces of equipment to get the gold out. And I think, my God, if they had 1, 2, 3, 4 gold drops in there, they'd be number one, moving faster, and number 2, they'd be getting everything. So at some point, I'd love to get those guys to test one of the big show guys in their cleanup room. It's good for cleanup as an initial processor.
We're heading to LDMA claim here in February in order to do field testing of the mining capabilities. So I'm taking, Brian and myself, and then my brother-in-law, Dave, and his son, Jeff, and we're heading down there and digging for 3 days, just continuously running through the gold drop. So we'll get a lot of great data from this trip.
Oh, that sounds exciting. I have a question in the chat. Dave wants to know if you can explain the potato method.
Pardon me?
Potato method. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, potato. I have no idea. See, I'm not really a gold miner. I'm a inventor.
Okay.
It's all new to me, inventing the gold drop and being introduced to it. So there's a lot of methods that I know nothing about.
Right.
And don't need to because the doggone thing works so well. This is why I invented it.
Yeah, it'd be fun to learn what the potato method.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was.
I have no idea.
So I looked up a YouTube video, and apparently you can melt gold in a potato.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, in a garden potato. So there's some videos. Go ahead.
I'm curious about that because I have some ore that I'd like to make a button out of.
We also have some potatoes.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I've heard of sand, obviously being used for molding different metals, usually silver, casting, and such, pewter. But I'll post a video. I think it's interesting because you got to figure that potato, it's smaller. So if there is any spill off, you're not working in the ground. It's just right in front of you. That's really interesting. I think you always learn something new, Carolyn. I thought they wanted to stick the potato in the top of the gold drop, and then out comes some French fries or something.
That would be really magical if that could happen.
Yeah, I'll post that video now. That's great. Wasn't there another comment also?
Let's see here. Mark Duncan, he said, I watched some YouTube videos and it's very cool, almost magical to watch. So that's really cool. Let's see.
Yeah, we get that at the show.
Yeah, the expression on people's faces when they see it is just so amazing. That just makes it so worthwhile.
Yeah, showing it's fun because of the reaction.
I agree.
Oh, the cool gold drop is that you can use it not just for gold, but for any mineral that's heavier than the dirt you're digging in.
Yeah.
So any valuable
silver
minerals like silver or iridium or
platinum. Or just anything that's a pay metal. If it has value and it's dense, and usually the dense pay metals are dense,
are expensive
and costly too, will drop out into the jar. You just got to learn to identify what's in the jar besides the gold. If it's metallic, it's something different. Because platinum will show up that way. It's actually, platinum is 22 grams per cubic centimeter, so it weighs more than gold. And it's a gray metal, so anything that looks suspiciously gray that's metal could be platinum.
And it's dropping out with the gold.
And platinum and gold kind of reside together.
That's a great point, Ryan, about the metals. We should have a list of, maybe on the product page, of a little chart of different metals and their weights and what could come through the gold drop by changing that elutriation effect pressure. You might need to adjust it a little bit, but I think that's a really good point that there's other metals out there, not just gold, and or the solving of the mercury problem. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is too, one of the customers that bought a gold drop did some testing and just loves it because he gets to find gold, but he also added some diamonds to the sand, and the diamonds dropped out too. So there's potential here for gemstones, depending on where you're digging. So things to look for, sapphires and, opals and, wherever you're digging, it's other things to look for.
How much do those types of minerals weigh? And how would you have to adjust the gold drop to get sapphires and opals and whatnot? Would it work with those kind of elements?
Yeah, because of the finite adjustment of the vertical water flow in the drop tube. See, dirt is anywhere from 2 to 5 grams per cubic centimeter. Well, gems can be in that category too. But if the dirt you're dealing with is, around, 2 and the gem weighs 4, well, there's a difference in density. So then that it's finite adjustment that you have to keep the dirt in the trap will allow those heavier, denser materials to fall out. And then it's up to you to identify what you got.
Wow.
Wow.
That's excellent.
So we've heard a lot about the gold drop and, how it works for gold prospecting when you're getting down to those tailings. And we've heard about how it takes, how it separates the mercury. Are you currently working with any sort of nonprofits? Because this just seems amazing.
Yes, actually, I'm a corporate sponsor of mercury-free mining. It's www.mercuryfreemining.org for those who want to look it up. And this organization was created by Toby Pomeroy, and he is actually a world-renowned jeweler in his previous commercial entities. And when as he was in his progression of learning jewelry and stuff, he understood or realized that a lot of this gold was coming from sources that was mined with mercury, and it's just a terrible way to get gold because you're harming people. So he then started his organization, Mercury Free Mining, in order to find an alternative to using mercury, and to get the jewelry industry then involved in this effort so that they could guarantee their customers that this jewelry, the gold, was made by fair mined gold that was recovered without the use of mercury, without destroying these people's lives, and to then be able to build this movement. So when Toby and I met after actually the 2018 Las Vegas GPA Gold Show, this is where I met Dave Veribioff, and he has been a tremendous supporter of the gold drop and whatnot, and has helped me tremendously in bringing this about. But he told me of the problem originally, and I knew nothing about this, and told me about Toby and whatnot. So, and being a neighbor, living only 10 miles away, I had a tremendous opportunity to learn exactly, and then to show him too what we've developed. So when we met, and then I showed him, and he was just totally tremendously excited because they're actually trying to fund a contest of their own. It's the $1 Million Mining Challenge, and so I entered that, and with other people not entering yet because they still have to raise $1 million in order to really run the contest, So, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. The effort is there, and that's why I became a corporate sponsor, because it's just so tremendously important to rid the world of mercury use in the artisanal mining industry, because it not only harms them, it harms us too. The fish that we eat, and see, this is where the change from, mercury is a toxic metal, but when it's consumed by other organic bodies, life, well, it changes from elemental mercury to methyl mercury. And this is the deadly form of mercury, which just causes, Minamata disease. Which was actually a situation in Minamata, Japan in the early 50s. And people were becoming just terribly disfigured. Fish were disfigured. Cats were walking all over. They called it, I think it was walking cat's disease or something like that because of the action of these cats. But anyway, this is where the discovery of this methyl mercury became evident as a tremendously toxic material that needed to be not available to anybody. And so this is the effort now, is to stop using it. And then they conformed, the United Nations got together, and they have the Minamata Convention, which is a treaty signed by, I think right now about 140 countries, that everyone agrees to stop using mercury for any reason whatsoever, and for this very purpose. And but countries now are fighting these artisanal miners because it's so doggone easy to get this mercury. The black market, it's cheap, very, very cheap. And so that's why it's readily available. And the governments have no control over how it's imported. You know, you think they would, but they don't. Because these people need it. It's the only way they have to subsist, you know, scratching the earth to get tiny gold, you know, $1 or $2 a day. You know, it's pretty dramatic what they go through to exist. And but eliminating the mercury will give them a new lease on life. They'll grow old and not die young or go blind or right, or treat their kids, you know, when they have this when they're using mercury and the fumes are there in the air, they're contaminating their kids and they're ruining their lives too. So it's a tremendous problem that needs a solution.
If you punch your browser, there's some dramatic videos from Minamata. And how do you spell it? And do you know it's M-I?
It's well, actually, if you send people to my Facebook page, Sluice Goose and Sluice Goose Industries, I have a video there of the effects of the Minamata disease in Minamata, Japan. And there's all of this. Then also on my Facebook page, John Richmond, you know, and Sluice Goose, and it's Sluice Goose Industries, and I have all of this other anecdotal information on the gold drop itself too. So, but mercury-free mining is definitely something that I wholeheartedly support, and wish other people would do so also.
I have a question for you, John. When you were first introduced to the gold panning, you said, man, this is too much work. I'm going to invent something to make it easier. Did you know this was going to lead to the mercury-free mining and how you got involved with it and that this passion would come out? I mean, it seems like you're very passionate about the organization, and I think that's amazing. Looking back,
Well,
would you ever have thought that?
No. It was Dave Verboff who introduced me to the situation, and, you know, with emphasis, and then him encouraging me to meet Toby, because Dave pointed out to me, wow, this thing is so dramatic. This is going to help this situation that I knew nothing about, you know. So my introduction to Toby and learning this, wow, the problem is huge, you know. So this is why it just consumed me to join the effort, because it is such a huge problem. And I have a potential solution. So these are things that just kind of came together that has encouraged me to push on this, because if the gold drop can be a solution, I want it to be very quickly, as soon as possible. The other anecdotal thing too, were because I actually did produce a video of removing mercury from black sand, was contacted by Sterling Engineering, who saw that video and said, hey, we've been looking for a situation to remove mercury from soil for decades, and referring to the contamination at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and also Savannah, Georgia. And the mercury, like Mike was saying, for the enrichment of plutonium during the Cold War development of the hydrogen bomb. They used just gallons of it without even realizing, because nobody knew at the time what the heck they were doing. They were just, we got to protect the country, you know, so it didn't care. So, but now they do care. And so now we're investigating how the gold drop can be used to remove the mercury from the soil and do the major cleanup that needs to be done. And this actually should lead to the ability to then scale up the size of the gold drop technology to handle larger volumes of material. And this is, you know, now that we have a proven technology, now, you know, scaling is either through multiples or through size is what we're doing to further investigation.
That's excellent. I think that's how we're going to get to a total mercury-free mining in the world is an easy, simple solution that doesn't cost millions and billions and trillions of dollars. And something about the gold drop that you guys may not know is you don't need running gasoline. You don't need water from the environment. You can bring your own bottled water in certain areas. And I know you guys had mentioned before that that's important because certain areas that have regulations against taking the water supply or using generators, the gold drop can work off batteries. It can work off solar. Again, you can bring your own water. It's fast, it's simple. It is the solution for mercury-free mining. And also the added benefit for all us treasure hunters out there is it finds the small gold in the fastest time. You have fun doing it. It's a family activity, or just you out there in your camper having a ball finding gold. That's what I want to do, guys. Get me out there. I want to find the gold. I did enough of your demo inside the showroom. I need to get out to Alaska, Bering Sea gold, and become a gold miner. So
something that you, Kellyco, has made us aware of is the importance of using a metal detector in helping find the gold.
Yes.
We can go to a tailings pile now, run the metal detector, and find the areas which potentially have the gold. Huge time saver, and we feel that having a metal detector along with the gold drop is one of the necessary and time-saving, very inexpensive, relatively inexpensive way to increase your output of gold. It's really exciting because we knew about metal detectors, but once we really started looking into it after your guys' encouragement, we're thinking, oh my gosh, we can't live without one.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I joined the LDMA, and in the purchase of their membership for the lifetime, I have a Gold Monster 1000 detector out of the deal. So now we're going to incorporate that detector in with the gold drop and check. See, I'm using also a gold cube trommel that I've modified, so to classify the dirt to run through the gold drop. And so anything that comes out the end of that trommel that doesn't go through the gold drop is going to be checked with the metal detector to see if there's anything there that we can find. And we have that, and with the gear pointer too. And, we're going to zero in on every particle of gold that is possible to zero in on.
With the price of gold going up, and potentially, you keep hearing the rumors, going way up.
Up to 5,000 an ounce.
Yeah, the metal detector becomes an even more important element of the whole process. So
Absolutely.
we're excited about that. That's really neat.
Carolyn, maybe there's a bundle idea there to get people's brains thinking with the gold machine and the gold drop, the Sluice Goose Industries gold drop. I really like that. We say it as, having the saw, which would be that metal detector looking for the small gold nuggets. And then when you find that concentrated area of gold, then you switch over to the scalpel and get into that precise area where you start taking that dirt, putting it through the gold drop, and finding the really, really small stuff, the dust, as we call it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, I'm really excited about the gold drop. I'm excited about how you're working with the mercury-free mining. I think it's a great solution. I really enjoyed having you guys on today's show with us, learning, educating our viewers about it. But it's about time for us to wrap it up. Any final thoughts you want to share with us today?
On about Toby Pomeroy, one of the things that encouraged us as far as his mercury-free mining was he's not political, and he's just truly dedicated to removing mercury from the environment and helping those artisanal miners. And that was really encouraging to us to see someone who's really focused on what really is the problem. And that's why we're sticking with him and why we're so encouraged by his efforts.
Yeah, and his efforts are actually being recognized too, because they now have had some major donations from the jewelry industry to support and promote their efforts. So people are jumping on board. They understand the problem and they want to do something about it.
That's amazing. Well, I want to thank you, John, Mike, and Brian, for joining us today. If everybody watching, if you like the video and you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. And we'll be back again next week with another great guest. Until then, everybody have a great day. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, guys. It was great to learn about the gold drop, and thank you for your time today on Coffee with Kellyco.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye.